Good morning, everybody. So we're going to get into Section 3, or rather Article 3, Section 2 of the United States Constitution, which is continuing with the judicial branch. So I'm just going to get right into it. The judicial power shall extend to all cases in law and equity arising under this Constitution. The laws of the United States and treaties made or which shall be made under their authority to all cases affecting ambassadors, other public ministers, and consuls, to all cases of admiralty and maritime jurisdiction, to controversies to which the United States shall be a party, to controversies between two or more states, between a state and citizens of another state. Note that was changed by the 11th Amendment. Between citizens of different states, between citizens of the same state claiming land under grants of different states, and between a state or the citizens thereof and foreign states, citizens and subjects. Note that was also changed by the 11th Amendment. In all cases affecting ambassadors, other public ministers, and consuls, and those in which a state shall be a party, the Supreme Court shall have original jurisdiction. In all other cases before mentioned, the Supreme Court shall have appellate jurisdiction both as to law and fact, with such expectations and under such regulations as the Congress shall make. The trial of all crimes except in cases of impeachment shall be by jury, and such trial shall be held in the state where the said crimes shall have been committed. But when not committed within any state, the trial shall be at such place and places as the Congress may by law have directed. So you can see that the jurisdiction of the court, of the Supreme Court, lies whenever state can't agree or you want to appeal it, you take your court. So all local trials, right? You're not going to be tried for something that you did locally in the Supreme Court, right? That's not the way the Supreme Court works. The Supreme Court will hear a case if it gets taken up all the way up, right? So you have appellate court, lower appellate courts, and then if you go to appeal and it gets higher and higher, it goes. Eventually, you'll get all the way to the Supreme Court. Or cases where that's how we come up with case law, right? Is either the appellate courts or the Supreme Court. For instance, Marbury versus Madison, right? Those are landmark Supreme Court cases that basically, no law repugnant to the United States. Any law made repugnant to the United States is void. So in other words, any law, Marbury versus Madison, any law that is contrary to the United States Constitution is void. So remember that. Any law, right, made that basically goes contrary to the United States Constitution is void. One of our very first case laws, Marbury versus Madison. So those are the kinds of cases that the Supreme Court hears, right? Something happens, a state makes a law that violates what the Constitution says. It goes up to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court says, no, absolutely not. They violated this person's constitutional civil liberties, and so we're going to judge against the state, or we're going to judge against the federal government, or whatever the case may be, depending on who violated which. The law cannot be contrary. In other words, you cannot take people's civil liberties. If it does, it goes to the Supreme Court, the judicial branch of government. That's what we're studying right now. Those are the kinds of cases they hear. So, knowing that, right, name me a few case laws, not Marbury versus Madison, that's something that I just brought up. Name me a few case laws that the Supreme Court has, and I'll give you a for instance. There's one that came out of Arizona. So what case came out of Arizona that law enforcement officers that are mandated to do? So that's your question. What law enforcement case came out of Arizona that now all law enforcement officers, well, they should have been doing it anyway, but what do they have to do? And this went all the way to the Supreme Court. let me know what it is. That's your question for the day. Again, have a blessed day, and God bless you all.